Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So I'm in the, I guess, office. Yeah, it's kind of fitting. There's a dog crate in here. You know, whenever you get put in the doghouse, you guys know how that goes. So, but the reason we're here today is to discuss, you guys might recognize that name over at Backfire TV, their YouTube channel, Jim. And I mean, he puts out, he's, in my opinion, probably one of the best YouTube creators, content creators, when it comes to firearms related stuff, hunting, outdoors type stuff, right? And so he came out with this guy. This is the Backstop. Okay, this is their new recoil pad that he came out with not too long ago, just now released, I believe, this year maybe. And he did a video here recently discussing what all went into the development of this recoil pad, using sensors and the design and all of that. Well, that was pretty intriguing, and there was one rifle in particular that I knew that if I bought this recoil pad, that this would be the one that I would buy it for, right? And that is my Tikka T3X in 270 Winchester. It's got the laminate stock, really nice. I'm a huge fan of this rifle, and Tikkas in general. But, and you can see I already removed the Tikka recoil pad. And in that video, I'm pretty sure he actually showed the Tikka recoil pad. That was, and yeah, he's 100% right on that. It's pretty hard rubber and plastic, and that's pretty much it, right? Not much to it. Now, which is not a big deal if you're shooting something like a 223 Remington, 22-250, you know, anything along those lines, 6.5 Creedmoor, any of that stuff, 243 Winchester, probably going to be okay. But when you step up to something like a 270 Winchester, which is what mine is chambered in, you know, you're shooting over 60 grains of powder. It can thump you pretty good, especially when this is all that you have contacting your shoulder. So this is the only downside, at least in my opinion, of the Tikka rifles, is the recoil pad. So they released it, released the, you know, hey, go order them. Went to the website, went through the order process. I actually showed this on the live stream I just did the other day, and ordered it back in January. And it was like, hey, you know, we're gonna begin production. It's gonna be a minute. And then the thing showed up. Let's see, today's February 21st. Came in the mail on the 20th. So yeah, really neat packaging too, by the way. So that's nice, but pretty cool design there. I like that. Backfire, good stuff. And then you open it up, and essentially the recoil pad was just sitting in the packaging. And then there is a installation video. I have not watched it, but you can go watch that. And then you've got the recoil pad. Now this thing is not cheap, 90 bucks. So really the question is it worth 90 bucks, right? And it's really a personal preference / decision at this point, right? It's really dependent upon, you know, do you have a rifle set up similar to mine where you absolutely love it, but maybe the downside of it is simply the recoil pad, and something like this could be the solution, right? It is all 3D printed, which I just found very interesting. Everything on here appears to be 3D printed. This is the actual cover. Okay, so he did mention that if you're gonna have, like if I'm gonna set this up in my closet or my gun safe and I'm gonna prop it up and have it sitting down on the recoil pad itself, that's how I typically store my rifles, muzzle end up. If you're gonna do that, then you need to leave this plastic housing on there. That is to protect the recoil pad itself and to, I guess, not degrade the compression characteristics of the pad. So, but what you do, you just flip this thing up, and I'm trying to do this one-handed since I'm filming with my phone, but this just kind of folds down, and then you're able to shimmy this guy out of here. It doesn't, you can't just put it in, right? You have to actually slide it in. That it holds it in place like that. So you just slide it in and out. Easier said than done. So that's what the actual pad looks like. So that's the part that will be attached to the firearm. There you go. And like I said, it is all 3D printed. So you can see the layering of the material. Backstop. USA made. So if that means a lot to you, there you go. And then I don't know what all different rifle manufacturers and configurations they sell. There was a list of them on their website. If you go and place an order, there's several to choose from that'll fit your particular rifle. And then they do also, one of the questions they asked, which I thought was nice, was is the original stock still on the rifle, or have you replaced it with an aftermarket stock? Because that's obviously something they need to know, because these are designed, the way I understood it in the video, these are designed based on, the weight of the rifle, the whole, like this whole laundry list of, variables went into the design of this thing. So yeah, there it is. Pretty nice. Now what I can't show you is the installation of this, pretty sure, because that's modifying the firearm, and we don't do that, or at least YouTube doesn't want you to. So it's about to go from this to something different real quick. Okay, so here it is installed. I did shoulder it a few times. It doesn't really feel any different than the factory Tikka butt pad. Obviously, the difference is when you're actually shooting the rifle. So I got to get to the range and see how this thing performs and see how it feels. But I will make a note, or I guess I don't know if I want to call it a complaint. Maybe a slight complaint. But the positioning of this 3D printed pad itself onto this, the interface, right? That actually, this is the hard plastic interface that screws into the rifle stock itself. And you just use the existing screws that come out of the factory butt pad. And you just use on this one, you just use a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. But the positioning, if you'll notice, right, you can see some hard plastic, right? You sort of see that lip right there on that side. On this side, you don't have that, right? Notice you don't see that. So I guess it's not the end of the world, by no means. It's not a deal breaker, nothing along those lines. But man, you're paying $90 for this thing, right? I mean, I get it. There's tolerances. I'm a manufacturing engineer. Trust me, I know better than anyone that, it's not going to be perfect. Going to have some tolerance that you allow. But I went to actually get this thing aligned, get it installed. And, I'm still going to mess around with the positioning of it, because there is some overhang, on this side versus the other side, and trying to get that corrected to where it's completely flush on both sides. I'm not necessarily having luck doing that. So no big deal. I mean, that's even something that's just hard plastic. You could even grind that down a little bit to that's what I'm talking about, that overhang, that lip right there at the point where it meets the rifle stock. You know, I mean, you could grind that down a little bit, but again, you spend $90, you shouldn't have to do anything, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, just the positioning of this 3D printed pad itself seemed to be off just slightly, which allows this lip to exist where it doesn't necessarily exist on the other side. So yeah, not the end of the world, but that is your honest feedback and review / initial thoughts. Yeah, you might be able to see it better like that. And of course you ain't gonna be able to see this side because it's, yeah. So there's not as much of a lip on this side, on that interface piece, as there is on the opposing side. So a little disappointed in that. Gotta be honest, I was pretty fired up about getting this, getting it installed and then going to the range. Seems like a really nice quality product. I do like the fact that this comes with it. That way, you know, to Jim's point, like he said, if you're gonna store this long term in a position where it's, you know, there's gonna be pressure on this, then you really need to use the cover to make sure there's no degradation of the compression material over time. So we'll see. Time will tell. I got to get out to the range. Hopefully it's a massive improvement over this guy. If it is, then trust me, it's well worth the money, right? But would be nice if it was just a little bit cleaner in terms of the overall fit and finish on it. I know it's 3D printed, I got it, but that would have been nice if it would have been a little bit tighter. So, all right, that's where we're gonna leave it. I will do a separate range video where I head out to the range and put some rounds down range and then give you guys kind of an overview of what I think about it in terms of practical application. So that's it. That's where we're gonna leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.